Before we get started, if you're a leader who wants to protect decision quality, energy, and long-term performance, you'll find everything I referenced today linked in the show notes. That includes my executive capacity audit, the waitlist for my strategic longevity collective, and my ebook, Longevity Unlocked, The Genesis. Now let's get into the episode. Welcome to Longevity Unlocked. I'm Sherri Austin, registered nurse and executive longevity and performance advisor. And this podcast is for leaders who refuse to trade their health, clarity, or decision quality for success. Here's what we do differently. We don't talk about hustle. We don't chase optimization for optimization's sake. And we don't wait for burnout to intervene. This is where we examine the physiology behind leadership, how sleep, stress, nutrition, movement, and recovery directly shape cognitive capacity, emotional regulation, and long-term decision quality. Because the truth is, most leadership risk doesn't come from lack of skill or intelligence. It comes from quiet capacity erosion, the kind you normalize because nothing is technically broken. Each episode is designed to help you think more clearly under pressure, lead with greater range and resilience, and build a longevity strategy that protects both your performance and your future self. If you're a high-performing leader who knows there's more available, more clarity, more energy, more strategic depth, you're in the right place. Welcome to the podcast. If you lead at the highest levels in business, government, healthcare, or public service, your greatest asset is not your experience. It is not your network. It is not even your intelligence. It is your decision quality. And in March, we are focused on one theme: reading the signal, protecting decision quality in a noisy world. Today, we're talking about something most executives underestimate: fatigue. Not burnout, not collapse, fatigue, and how it quietly distorts judgment at the top. Let me tell you about a leadership team I observed during a major acquisition. The company was strong, the CEO was respected, the opportunity looked strategic, but here's what was happening behind the scenes. International travel across 3 time zones in 10 days, 5 to 6 hours of sleep consistently, a regulatory issue unfolding simultaneously, back-to-back decision meetings, the data room review, and the final decision meeting happened in the same 48-hour window. There was minimal dissent in the room. The deal was closed. 12 months later, integration friction surfaced, cultural misalignment, talent attrition, revenue projections adjusted downward. Was the deal irrational? No. It was cognitively compromised. No one was impaired, but everyone was fatigued. And fatigue does something dangerous at the executive level. It narrows perspective. It reduces dissent tolerance. It increases reliance on past pattern recognition. It amplifies confidence in familiar strategies. When leaders are tired, they don't become less smart. They become less discerning. Let's highlight some research-backed insight. Let's talk about what's happening biologically. Sleep restriction, even modest restriction, impairs the prefrontal cortex. That is the region responsible for executive function, inhibition control, complex reasoning, and risk assessment. Under fatigue, the amygdala becomes more reactive. Cortisol rises. Working memory declines. What does that mean in practical executive terms? You interrupt dissent more quickly, default to known frameworks, overweight urgency, underweight nuance. Research on decision fatigue also shows something else. As cognitive energy drops, leaders either become more risk-averse or risk-seeking, depending on their personality and history. But consistency disappears, and inconsistency at the top creates volatility across the organization. Here's the key. Fatigue doesn't announce itself as impairment. It shows up as impatience, as speed, as let's just move. And in high-performing cultures, speed is often rewarded, but clarity requires capacity. Early in my advisory work with senior leaders, I worked with a high-capacity executive who insisted he did his best thinking late at night. He would review board materials at 11:30 p.m. He believed he was being efficient. We ran a simple experiment. For 2 weeks, he reviewed materials in the evening, and for 2 weeks, he reviewed them at 8 a.m. after 7 hours of sleep. The morning reviews were 22% shorter. He flagged more strategic risks, and he asked more forward-looking questions. He didn't change intelligence. He changed physiological state. That's when he said something powerful. I wasn't tired. I was dulled. And that distinction matters. Here are 3 things you can implement today. Number 1, institute a decision state check. Before major decisions, ask, What is my sleep quality over the past 72 hours? What is my stress load today? Am I physiologically compromised? You don't need perfection, you need awareness. Number 2, separate data review from final decision. Never review complex material and finalize in the same fatigued window. Build a 12 to 24 hour gap. That pause protects objectivity. And number 3, intentionally design dissent. Fatigue reduces tolerance for challenge. Assign one person to critique the prevailing narrative before any high impact call. If today's conversation resonates, I want to invite you to go deeper. On March 17th at 7:30 p.m., I'm hosting a live executive webinar, Reading the Signal, a smarter way to protect decision quality at the top. We will unpack how to lead with clarity without sacrificing your energy or longevity, how to diminish biological noise, cognitive distortion, and strategic safeguards, and practical executive frameworks you can implement immediately. You can register through the link in the show notes. If you value this conversation, please subscribe, share the episode with a colleague. Follow me on LinkedIn and Substack at Executive Longevity for daily executive longevity insights. You can also follow me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Ask Nurse Sherri and on X at Ask Sherri RN. And if you are serious about sustaining elite performance long-term, join the waitlist for the Strategic Longevity Collective, my private executive advisory community focused on protecting cognitive performance, resilience, and long horizon leadership capacity. All links are in the show notes. Until next time, protect your signal.